Good evening, all of you. Welcome to Sunya IAS. In this class, we are starting the new part of your Modern Indian History series. And today is the lecture number 2, where we will discuss Dutch and Danes. Please let me know if I'm live, if it is working fine from your side. Yes. Yes, good evening, everyone. Now we can start the session. It's going good. So first of all, guys, we covered about Portuguese in the last class. Okay, I hope you remember that we discussed the governors of Portuguese. We covered the Vasco da Gama, and we have covered all three governors. Then we got to see the new East India Company, which is the Dutch East India Company. Here, just understand a point that all these European powers they had to fight among themselves. Why? Because they all wanted monopoly. So somehow when you discover a new sea route, it will not be a secret for a long time. Of course, Portuguese discovered it, but it was known to everyone very soon. Now Dutch, they also made their company. Now why they all are known as East India Company? Why every time the East India Company is common? Because they are coming in East. Okay, India is in the east of the world. That's why East India Company. Now the Dutch East India Company is going to be very, very strong. They are so strong that they will be defeating English many times. They'll have a lot of rivalry. The Anglo-Dutch rivalry will be at its peak when they will meet at Amboyana. We will discuss all the battles, and ultimately you'll see that English had to compromise with them. English could not defeat the Dutch and they had to compromise. We need to understand that compromise also. Fine. Now, who came first? The first person was Cornelis de Houtman. He was the first Dutchman to reach in the part of Sumatra, okay, and the Bentham in 1596. Now, after Cornelis de Houtman, many new travelers came and the settlements got started. Now, the Dutch settlement, after their arrival in India, it was first factory in Masulipatam and it was in Andhra Pradesh by 1605. Then they, started more trading centers. Okay, they started and they established more different trading centers in different parts of our country, as you can see here. But when they were trying to expand, they became a threat to Portuguese. Why? Because already Portuguese were there in India. They were doing quite fine. And Portuguese knew that what exactly is needed to rule. Right? So they had a greater experience. I have already discussed this with you that Portuguese ultimately they could rule in this particular coastal area just because of their organization and things which they had. But later they lost their organization. Do you remember the decline of Buddhism? How it happened in India? All those ideas from which it started, the kind of language it preferred, the kind of values it preferred, it became opposite of it, right? They start doing everything which they used to talk about in a negative sense. They adopted all those values which were there in other religions, sometimes the bad habits also. Here, Portuguese did the same mistake. The kind of organization, the kind of discipline which they used to carry, they forwarded. They became very much relaxed. And due to this relaxed attitude, they lost their control in many of the territories. They had to fight with Dutch, and Dutch defeated them. Fine. Now they captured the Nagapattinam area from Portuguese near Madras from the Portuguese, and they made it their main stronghold in South India. You'll be seeing that they are starting from South India. From, if you try to compare it from the ancient and medieval times, we saw that all the invaders, they used to come from the northwestern sides of India and they used to influence North India more, like the Delhi Sultanate also and other regions also. Every time North India was more influenced than South India. But this time you see that they are capturing Bijapur, they are capturing areas from the Vijayanagar Empire, they are getting more areas under their control. So the things are very different now, isn't it? This time South India is having a lot of issues than if you compare it from the North India. Now, after doing all these things, Dutch had to fight with English because ultimately Portuguese were defeated and they just decided to go. I told you that Portuguese also discovered Brazil and they had their intention to move out from the India. They could not sustain their powers and centers and they were defeated by many other European companies. But English at that time, they were the rising powers. Later you will see that Portuguese and English, they will have some matrimonial alliance. They will compromise with each other. They'll come together and it will be settled among themselves that they won't fight anymore in India. So English, they were quite relaxed that Portuguese are not going to be there anymore. So Portuguese are not there in the picture, you can say. So Dutch now had to face English directly. So Dutch started fighting. Now just tell me a point that these European powers, Dutch, English, Portuguese, Danes, French, why they are fighting among themselves? One point I got it, that monopoly was there. But if you just ignore the fact of monopoly, there is one more thing which is important, which is the rise of nation state system in Europe. Basically, the kind of nationalism, the feeling of glorification of your own nation, which was started in Europe, it made them realize that they should fight for their country, for their nation. It made them realize that they can do whatever they want if they can achieve the glory of their nation. So ultimately, it was a kind of competition, you can say. So competition was very, very high. Now, Dutch and English, they started fighting. There was a time when they wasted along around 2 years just in fighting and they got nothing out of it. War without any result, battles without any results. So ultimately, they decided that we should end this fight and divide the area. English said that we are more interested in India. So, Dutch, please go out of this place and you can just choose any other area where we will not interfere. Dutch wanted Indonesia more than India because Dutch were more interested in spices. Indonesia is also known as Spice Island. So Dutch wanted no interference of English in Indonesia and in this way they decided. But before going through this, there was a process. The climax of their enmity, the enmity between Dutch and the English, it happened in the east and it was in the Amboyana, the Battle of Amboyana. It is a place in present day Indonesia. It shows us a good point that English, they were there in India also and in Indonesia also. And there, English, what they did, it was a kind of massacre. Okay, so in Indonesia, Amboyana, Dutch had captured from Portuguese this area in 1605. So it shows us one more point that before English, Portuguese had the area of Amboyana, which was captured by Dutch, and here Dutch and English were fighting. Clear? Now, what will happen there in Amboyana? They, massacred 10 Englishmen. Dutch massacred 10 Englishmen and 9 Japanese also, who used to, go along with them. Now, this was a great level of massacre, and it happened in 1623. It was a great level of enmity. Then they started fighting, fighting, and more battles were there. Ultimately, in 1667, they decided to have a compromise by which Dutch said that they will withdraw from India and Britishers said that we will withdraw from Indonesia. Fine. So here in 1667, the compromise was that British agreed to withdraw all their claims on Indonesia. They said that we will not come to Indonesia, will not interfere in your region, and you also don't come to India. Okay. You take care of your own region, we will take care of our own region. Nobody will be interfering in any of the matters. So, do you think this promise will sustain? Do you think that this compromise will sustain? And if it will not be sustained, if anyone will break the promise, then what do you think? Who will break the promise first? There was a big promise. It was decided that we will not interfere. Okay. There will be no interference. It was clearly decided. Then tell me who will break the promise first, Dutch or English? क्या लगता है? Uh, I can see there is one comment about volume. Should I increase the volume, guys? I can increase it, but you only say that voice cracks when I keep volume very high. Let me just increase it a bit and let me know if the volume is fine. I have changed my mic today and I hope the voice quality is better with you guys. Sri Lakshmi, you gave the right answer, Dutch. See, I have increased the volume of my mic. Let me know if it is fine, if it suits you. Okay. And yes, Dutch will break the promise. That's right. Let's see how. Basically, the compromise happened that British agreed to withdraw their claims from Indonesia, and Dutch, they said that we will retire from India, we will go out of India, we will concentrate on the profitable trade of Indonesia. And at that time, Indonesia had more profitable trade. Can you tell me why? Why Indonesia was more profitable at that point of time if you compare it with India? Basically, in India, first of all, the area is big and so many regional kingdoms are there. So you could not concentrate on one single thing here in India. Complexities were there. But in Indonesia, this kind of complexity was not there in the society. And they could only focus on spices, which they had the interest in. So that's why Dutch decided to stay there in Indonesia and peacefully continue their trade. Now, when they were doing this, they monopolized the trade in black pepper and the spices. The most important Indian commodities which Dutch traded were silk, cotton, indigo, rice, opium. But later, they just moved out of from here. Now, after few years, see, they left Indonesia. They left India. Britishers left Indonesia and Dutch left India. But you know the problem, human beings, we are, we have emotions, right? Ex ki yaad aa hi jati hai types, you know. So Dutch also started realizing that I miss my ex. I want to go back. Dutch had those feelings, they could not get over India. They were just waiting for one opportunity. They just wanted one invitation to go and enter in India. And they got it. Why? Because if you remember the Battle of Plassey, however, I have not discussed this with you, yet we have not covered that topic, but this is a very common thing which we all know. So in the Battle of Plassey, Mir Jafar assisted Robert Clive, right? Helped Robert Clive, and then Mir Jafar became the puppet Nawab. But when Mir Jafar became the puppet Nawab, he realized that he has no power at all. So he wanted to defeat English. Now it was impossible for Mir Jafar to get consolidated army and go for a fight against the Britishers. So he had to take help. So he thought to take help from Dutch, because he knew that already Dutch are, in the memories of India, and they would always love to come back here. Somehow India was something, it was a very attractive place, right? So Dutch, when they got this invitation from Mir Jafar to help him against the English, they came back. But it was a unsuccessful thing. Okay, it's never a good idea to go back. Okay, this is a learning which you can take. So it was a bad idea, and ultimately, yes, what happened? Dutch got defeated. So we will discuss this. There was a battle of Hooghly. I'll discuss the battle of Hooghly more with you when I will come to the part of Mir Jafar, because we need to discuss Bengal. We need to discuss Hooghly, how Bengal was, captured by English, how they were doing after Mir Jafar. That we need to understand, and then you will understand this battle of Hooghly. But as of now, just for understanding, keep this in mind that Mir Jafar once invited Dutch to have a last bid, एक आखिरी मौका, एक आखिरी कोशिश, okay, last try. So the retaliation by English happened here. It resulted in the defeat of Dutch completely. It was in the Battle of Hooghly, which dealt a crushing blow to Dutch ambitions in India. This is also known as the Battle of Bedara. where Dutch were completely defeated. It was the last time when they thought to come, and then they were defeated so badly. They said sorry, and they were like, okay, we broke the promise. I understand that I am the culprit in this relationship, and I had to take care of my senses. I am going back now. I'll not come back again. And they promised again that, okay, fine, there will be no more fight. And then they realized that it was impossible for them to come back in India. Then they just completely went off, and then there was no Dutch interference in India after this. Never. And it was not even possible, guys. Why it was not possible? Because, see, let's look at the date, 1759. We had the battle of Plassey in 1757. Then we got the battle of Buxar in 1764. Before this, the battle of, third battle of Panipat was also there, where Ahmad Shah Abdali defeated Marathas. So basically, this time is something which shows us that Dutch and even other foreigners, they won't be able to interfere here in India. They'll be seeing that now Britishers are rising power, because by that time Britishers achieved a lot. I told you a point before this slide that Dutch wanted to have success in a more profitable trade, and that's why they chose the area of Indonesia, because at that time Indonesia had more profitable trade. Why? No political rivalry was going on. Things were much more settled. Okay, it was a better situation in the area of Indonesia. But now, after a few years, after the Battle of Buxar, the situation will be better in India now. For whom? For whom? For English. When I say the situation is better in India, it is about the better establishment of European markets. Because right now we are seeing the European perspective, right? You are reading the Indian history, but with the European perspective. We are trying to understand the advent of Europeans. We need to understand the fight of Dutch, English, French, right? So we need to have that perspective now, because now you will see after Dutch, Danes will also come, French will also be there. So we need to discuss all their perspectives. Right now, don't think like an Indian. Okay, think as if the European businessmen are having some kind of rivalries and what will suit them. Okay, how they will grow their business. This kind of perspective needs to be there. Clear? Now, next important thing is that the Dutch were not much interested in empire building. I told you why. See, initially even English were also not interested in empire building. Britishers, they thought that why to waste our time in the polity in such a diverse country which is having so many things. It's better to take care of something else, right? But later, you will see that English also got involved in the politics, and they also got interested in empire building just because they wanted to increase their profit. Fine. So Dutch thought that I don't want to have any colony or anything like that. I just want to do my trade. It's better that I leave this area and go away from this place. And that's why there was no ambition and interest. So they just left here, left this place from here, and they just went away. Their concerns were more in trade, so they just focused on Indonesia, and then they never came back again. So this was the story of Dutch. Now, let's understand the story of English. English who defeated Dutch. You need to understand a point here that when we talk about English, we need to discuss that how the company got started. However, it is not something which will be asked in the exam, because it's a very common and it's a very easy topic. It's a very easy thing to be discussed. So just for understanding, like for one time reading, let's see this one. Now, the English Charter of Queen Elizabeth I was given to a company. How this company was formed? See, understand, this was a private company. English East India Company, which came from Britain, is a private company. Like French company and other companies, they were government companies. And you know how government companies work. See, this is a universal truth. Sometimes you see there are few universal truths. There are few things which are always common in every time, in any phase. Even today it is like that. 100 years back also it was like that, and it will be same even after thousands of years. Okay, so what is that? See, there is a universal truth that the government companies, they won't be able to function that nicely the way a private company will do. Okay, why? Because there is always a small thing which is being, being incentive driven. You get incentives in a private company. Okay, you get incentives, you get a kind of competition for your work, your talent will be valued, you'll be getting better value of your job in a private company than in a government company, right? You even today you see a big government officer will not have that much of salary if you compare it with any high top level of corporate employee. Any good company manager in a corporate sector will be earning five times higher than an IS officer, right? It's a normal truth. So it's a very common thing, and it was also there at that time. Here, English East India Company is a private company. They are private. They are doing private trade. How it got formed? See, basically, it was a group of merchants, few businessmen. They used to do their business. You remember guilds? We had guilds and shrenis in ancient India. Shrenis and guilds, remember? In ancient India, merchant guilds were there. Fine. So here also in Europe, they had some guilds. Now in Britain, there was a group of merchants, and then they thought to make a single company, because instead of fighting among themselves, they thought that we can reduce the competition and help each other. Then the group was formed. This group got the sponsorship from the government. I told you that rulers, they were also fed up of the church domination and the dark age. Queen Elizabeth I, she was also a kind of leader who wanted to bring Renaissance at a bigger perspective. She really favored Renaissance. She wanted people to have progress. She wanted new companies to grow in her country, and that's why she gave sponsor, she gave money, she gave support to this private company. Also, she had shares in the company. Okay, when you have shares, it means you will be sharing the profit of the company's profit. So ultimately, government means the queen herself is having the profit. Royal family will be having the profit if company will grow. Okay, so they will give support to the company, and they will have some shares in the value of company. Ultimately, by purchasing the shares, it's like a combined effort of government and private company to work together and have profit. Okay, they created profit together. Now, in 1599, as I told you, it was a guild, it was a group of English merchants. They used to call themselves merchant adventurers. Okay, so this merchant adventurers, they formed a company. And on 31st December 1600, Queen Elizabeth I, she issued a charter. Okay, she gave a charter with the rights of exclusive trading rights. Exclusive trade, what is exclusive trading rights? Means no other company from England will go to India. Only this company, the merchant adventurers, only this one can go to India and can do the trade. No other company from the England can be formed to do the trade like this. Okay, so this exclusive trading right was given to this company, and then it was the name was changed. They changed the name from the merchant adventurers. They named a big company group, which was Governor and Company of Merchants of London trading into the East Indies. So you see, this is a very long name. Okay, if I I just talk about it and teach you, I'll not be able to repeat this again and again. Governor and Company of Merchants of London trading into the East Indies. It's such a long name. So in short, they kept it East India Company. Okay, and to demarcate that it is from the England, English East India Company. Okay, so in short, we will call them East India Company, and they got the exclusive trading privilege. But this monopoly of exclusive trading right was only for 15 years. So after 15 years, the government could decide that they want to continue with this company, or they want to bring more companies like East India Company, or if they want to have some more, merchants in the market, so they could decide accordingly. Now, can you tell me a point that why the exclusive right was so important and why it was given? Why Queen was so foolish to give this exclusive right? She could have made so many different companies. Like if hundreds of companies will go together and trade, they will have more profit. Why she invested in just one company? What will she gain by giving this exclusive right? Because in an open market, if you have more companies, you'll have more competition, you can grow more, you can earn more. Instead of having one company, she could have taken two, three, or four companies. Why not many companies she wanted? Why just one company was there? And what kind of benefit the royal, people will get, the kings and queens will get if they give the exclusive right? However, you need to understand that this exclusive right was ended later. Other companies were also allowed to go and enter in the India. Yes, good evening. Okay, today voice is best. Fine, then I will just confirm this setting. Okay, ये वाली setting को पक्का कर लें, change नहीं करेंगे फिर इसको. Okay. Finally, we achieved it after so many classes, because I used to change it and check it every time in the system that how it will be good. And I'm glad to know that it's the best, which you can see. I'll just set the pitch and will confirm it. We'll lock it so it will never be changed again. Can you tell me? Yes, it is still attractive, of course. भावनाओं में बहना नहीं है आपको. Just try to focus in class. Corruption, of course, corruption is there, but one more thing is there. See, it is, of course, the corruption, because she had shares in the company, so she will not take risk to have more companies. First of all, if she is having shares, so she will always have this kind of mindset that I can achieve more. Okay, I should have this kind of privilege. But it's not just about having the privilege, guys. It's about something else. Understand this. Basically, just give me a moment. Yeah. So basically here, why exclusive right was given? Can you see the time period? It is the time before industrialization. Okay. There was no competition, no market economy, no system of capitalism anywhere in the world before industrialization. Okay. It's a chain. It's a chain. What is a chain? Understand. Do you see there are many problems of capitalism? Do you have a good understanding about the difference of communism, socialism, and capitalism? If you want me to explain that, please tell me in the comments. Otherwise, I'll move quickly. Do you know the difference between these three? See, the time when East India Company was formed, the English East India Company, is the time before industrialization. Means before capitalism. What is communism? Communism is a state economy where government will control everything, government will have a strict control, government will decide that what should be done in the economy, what kind of products should be made, how it should be distributed, how it should be given to the people. Like Indian Railway. Indian Railway is under the government, so government can decide that what price they can keep and how they should do things for you. Now, the good thing about a capitalist, sorry, not capitalist, but communist economy is that they ensure that everyone get the basic needs fulfilled, right? Your basic needs will be fulfilled. because government give you roti, kapda, makan, okay, food, shelter, clothing. So they will ensure that the basic needs are fulfilled and equality is there in the society. If people can't buy car, if they don't have money, so they will only make cycle, because everyone can buy a bicycle. So they will keep the cycle with them. They will manufacture only cycles. But just imagine the situation in the country where if people are having good amount of money and if they have the money to purchase a luxury car, they won't be able to purchase a car. Why? Because the government is not making car. The country is not having any store for the cars. There is no manufacturing of the car. Even you can't import it from the market. You can't get it from any other foreign country. If you will buy the car from a foreign country, you can't take it inside the India. You need to keep it outside the border of India. Imagine this situation. It sounds so bad, isn't it? For those people who can afford, who have money, who are hardworking, who are doing good business, they will always have to suffer and live a life in which only the basic needs will be fulfilled, but there will be no luxury, there will be no goodness in the life, there will be no scope of ambition. So here the problem in a communist economy is that it is very, very strict, strictly government oriented, and they will not coexist with the market. They will have many, many strict rules and a lot of corruption. A lot of corruption. Like, for example, I'll tell you, in India, when some of my friends or relatives, when they used to come from a foreign country, they used to buy some gifts for us. They used to give us some clothing brands or some cosmetic brands which are only available in their country. It's not there in India. So we used to be very, very happy that we can't buy it in India because the government will not allow, because India initially used to follow a very socialistic pattern, and we had very less brands in India. The concept of shopping malls also came at a very later stage. Okay, so even before 20 years, we had very less amount of brands in India. The food brands, the clothing brands, the watches, the luxury brands were not available. But now today it is available. Now if you want to do some luxury shoppings, and if you want to get to acquire these things, if you want to go with these stores and brands, you can easily get it in India. You can easily get it in the malls of India. Maybe not everywhere, but certainly in few of the malls, in few of the purchasing centers, it is available. You don't need to fly and go to France to buy a Louis Vuitton bag, right? You can get that purse in Delhi itself. You can get it in Mumbai also. You can get it any other high brand store, right? But it was not possible 10 years back or 20 years back. So these brands were not available. So people used to fly, they used to travel, they used to go outside, they used to go and visit a foreign country for it. Then they used to do shopping from there, and this is how they used to do. This is a problematic situation where if you want to buy a single handbag, if you just want to buy a small thing, you will need to visit a foreign country. And there are few limitations on airport. Like everything you can't buy and take it to your country. There are few items which are not allowed. Okay. And if the item is allowed, there is a quota. There is a fixed limitation that only this much of gold you can buy, this much of metal only you can buy. So there are some purchasing quotas. Now in this situation a lot of corruption will happen. Okay, high level of corruption was there. I'll tell you why. I gave you the example of a brand bag. Okay, that bag which had a cost of around 40,000 or 50,000 rupees 10 years back, it was sold at a very high price, 10 times at a higher price in India. Because if you want to buy it in India, so people, what they used to do, they used to buy it from a foreign country and they used to sell it here at a very high price, 10 times higher. So only rich people could afford it, and they used to buy it. Sometimes they used to get a lot of things in the custom areas also. So by just avoiding these taxes and just to make the government fool, these kind of practices were prevalent. Sometimes golds, drugs, diamonds, These kind of, supplies by mafias used to be there. It was very, very high. Fine. Now corruption will increase in this system. What is socialism? Socialism is similar to communism. It is a liberal arm of communism. It is very much same. They will also follow state economy, everything like communism, but just one small difference is there, that they will keep a window open. They are not a completely closed door economy. Communism is a closed door economy. They are like, we will not let any foreigner come and trade here with us. No market, no brands, nothing. But here in socialism, they help other markets to coexist with them. They can coexist with the market. They will say that we can have some rules where, if needed, maybe in medical field, maybe in education, if needed, we can have some market systems also, some private companies, but some rules of government will be followed accordingly. So they can coexist. They are not very, very strict. Apart from this, similar problems are there in socialism also. Then comes the mixed economy, where you have private, centers also, and government centers also. Now, what is in capitalism? Capitalism is completely open market economy. It will say that the government should have no control in the economy. If people want to buy something, and if they have money, if they are working hard to earn it, buy it, then they should have the opportunity to get it in the market. Why government will stop them? Just imagine that you want to buy a jacket. Okay, you have money to buy that jacket, but the government is saying that no, you should wear a sweater only. You will not purchase the jacket. It is not allowed in the country. How will you feel? You'll feel bad. You will be more obsessed with that product now. It happens. When government will not allow, you will feel more obsessed about it. Wherever in these states, which are dry states like Gujarat and Bihar, where the liquor is banned, you will see that people buy more liquor. वो ज़्यादा शराब पीते हैं because शराब बैन कर रखी है government ने. They will buy it from black market and they will do a corruption from this. So it happens, the obsession will increase for you. Now you will only feel like wearing that jacket. Why? Because the government is not allowing, so you will have a higher level of obsession. You will try to get it more and more. You will try to, get it from some hidden sources, some black market sources. Why? Because government is not allowing you to get it freely. So ultimately, the problem is that in open market economy, government will have no interference, and here you can decide that what you want. So here the best thing is the talent will be valued. If you can do anything, the work which you can do will have a greater value. You will earn more. It is a free market system. Free exit, free entry. If you want to go and buy a shampoo in the market, you will see hundred of brands are there. Different types of shampoos are there. It's your decision that if you want to buy this or that. And if you want to change your brand, you can change it easily. You don't need to answer anyone. Okay, like suddenly if you start using some other brand shampoo, nobody will come and ask you that why are you using it, why, how could you stop that. No, it's fine, it's up to you, you have your choices. Fine. So the luxury will increase, but the problem here is exploitation. There will be more exploitation. Why? Because the factory owner who will earn the profit will be more profitable, will earn more, will open more factories. But a labor who is working in a factory will only get same amount of wage, same amount of payment or salary, and there will be no development in the life of a labor. And that's why, with the rise of capitalism, the clash between the labor class and the owners got started. For example, let's say there is a factory owner. Okay, if I have a factory, okay, I invested, let's say, 10 lakh rupees, and I made a factory to manufacture my item. I gave employment to 100 laborers, and I will say that, okay, you work for me every day, I will give you 100 rupees per day. You just need to work whole day for me, work for 10 hours, and you will earn 100 rupees every day. So 100 rupees per day for one labor. This cost I have fixed, and this is the wage which they will get. Okay, so laborers are getting the wage. Okay, they will not get any other thing. They will not have any other, you can say, experience, or any other facility will not be given to them. Only 100 rupees will be fixed for them. Now, by giving 100 rupees to 100 laborers for maybe 6 months, I will be able to earn 10 crore rupees profit. By investing only 10 lakh rupees, I got 10 crores now. With that 10 crore, what I will do? I will open 10 more factories, right? I will open 10 more factories, and then by that I will earn more profit. Then after few years, I will be getting 100 crores of profit. Then after more years, it will be 1000 crores of profit, right? The profit will increase for me. I will be more richer, richer, and then the richest. So it is a quest of being the richest in the world. It is a competition to earn more money. Like big businessmen, they have so much of money, but still they are working. Why? They are running every day. Why? Because there is a competition that I need to be the richest of the world. I will earn the best. My company should have the maximum amount of profit. Look at me. I started from 10 lakh, then got 10 crores, then 100 crores, then 1000 crores, then I'll be millionaire, billionaire, whatever you can say. What about this labor? The labor who was working for 100 rupees in this company will be working for 100 rupees in this company also, even when so many other companies are open, so many other factories are there. Even after I open 100 more factories, I will give only 100 rupee of wage to a labor, and it is fixed per day. So what is the change in the life of a labor? There is no change. What will he do with this poverty? Nothing. He is achieving nothing. Even with the rise in inflation, his poverty is increasing because inflation is rising. And what I will do? I will not increase the wage because I am exploitative. I am a capitalist person. This is the way I do the business, because if I will earn the wage with every time, with every year, I will lose money. Okay. I will try to do more cost cutting. I will reduce the time of electricity also. I will keep a low cost and low quality of drinking water in my factory, so that my laborers will not have a good quality of water. It will be a price, controlling thing for me. I will do cost cuttings in every way. I'll not give them any medical facilities. I'll not give them any kind of fans or ACs or anything if it is required. They will be working in a dirty factory, dirty situations. I won't give any money for the maintenance of the factory because I am not working in the factory. I'm not going to the factory. I will never see the doors of the factory. I'm sitting in my palace very happily, making factories more and more, growing my business, and nothing much is there on my side. I'll just do the management. But these people who are working, they will be suffering on daily basis. They had to suffer. Why? Just because they are poor and they are in a vicious trap. So this is a trap which you need to understand. This trap will be started when industrialization come. Okay, when industrialization will come, when industrialization will begin after 18th century. But this is a time when we are seeing no industrialization. So no exploitation was there, no competition was there, no competitive mindset was there. So queen is happy. She will be like, okay, I have just one company, I have the shares, why to increase more competition? Let's have a profit and sit peacefully. So that's why she will give 15 years of grant to this company and she'll not take any risk. But she will take the risk after being a capitalist lady. Like after few years, you will see that more East India companies will come from England. Okay, the English, government, they will just raise this barrier of monopoly and exclusive trading rights, and they'll say that all other companies are allowed to go and trade in India because we need more market, we need more competition. Okay, so this exploitative mindset will come to them. They will try to grab more markets, they will try to grab more countries, but right now they are just focusing on a profit which is a limited profit. Here, why 15 years? Because it's a small risk. It is a good amount of time. right? Because initially 5 years it will take to sustain and get some, establishment. Then after 5 years some profits will be coming, and then by 15 years it will be decided that okay, if the company should be continued or not. So it was a right decision at that time. So in May 1609, later, why? See, look at the date, 1609. It is a time when English factories will be increased, okay, and they will have a better plan. So they will have a better plan, they will offer a better plan to the queen, and then this monopoly was extended indefinitely by a fresh charter that okay, now we give a right which is indefinite right for you. You have no, you don't need any fresh charter, you go for it and just trade, fine. Later, this will be changed when you will see the East India Company have the rule in India after they got the Diwani rights and after all those things. No, it will be changed. But right now, initially, this is the situation with East India Company. Now, these English East India Company people, they are very clever. When they wanted to have the Bengal under their control, they didn't go and fight with the Nawab of Bengal. No, they started very nicely, gradually, and slowly. First of all, they bought only 3 villages. Look at the small strategy which they used to make. This is sometimes it is also known as the atomic habits. Have you read that book? That's a very famous book, Atomic Habits, which shows and says that just by doing small changes, you can achieve big things. And it's just a small thing. They just bought the zamindari of 3 villages to start from Calcutta. They never said that we are here to fight or win the territory or go for a war. No, they were very slow and clear. Okay, that's why they could rule for so many years in India, because they used to trap the mindset of the Indian people. They used to understand it and grab it very easily. Okay, yes. So here, just understand the point that it was in 1612 that Captain Thomas Best defeated Portuguese in the Sea of Surat. Do you remember Captain Thomas Best in 1612 when he came? And then he impressed Jahangir. Jahangir gave the permission to English that in 1613 they established the factory in Surat also under Thomas Elward. Then in 1615, Sir Thomas Rio came, and he was the aggregated ambassador of James I, who came in the Jahangir's court and stayed here till 1619. However, he could not conclude any commercial treaty. He was able to secure a number of privileges like permission to set up more factories in Agra, Ahmedabad and Bharuch. Then after this, Bombay was gifted to English East India Company. Not English East India Company, but to English. Why? Because Bombay, it was under the control of Portuguese. If you remember, Portuguese already captured it, they controlled it, right? So Portuguese, when they went outside the place of India and when they stopped their influence and when they were defeated by Dutch also, they were very very easy and peacefully living. Now what they decided, they gifted Bombay to King Charles II. Okay, why? Because King Charles II, he got it in dowry from the King of Portugal, because Charles married the Portuguese Princess Catherine in 1662. Very easy to remember. Okay, double six, so 2 is written here. So 1662. So in 1662, when Charles married Catherine, he got Bombay. Now look at the situation. They are marrying Portuguese and English, and they are giving dowry the area which is in India, the Indian state, the Bombay, which is not even in their own country. How was it so possible? Can you tell me? A person who is planning to give a dowry is giving the state or the area which is not there even in their own area, which is not there in their own country. How could they do so? Why it was so easy for them and how it was so manageable for them? First of all, they knew that nobody will say anything. because there was no central administration in India. Second, Portuguese already got the victory in Bombay, so they already had this region in their own control. The third reason is that they used to follow paperwork. What is paperwork? Paperwork is very important. If I say something to you verbally, like if I promise you something, tomorrow I can forget. You can forget. Or you can say that, no, you said that. But I would say, no, I mean that. I didn't mean this. Anything can be changed, right? With the emotions, our words can be changed. But this scope of change in the attitude and the emotion is not there when you write things down, when there is a stamp of the government. Okay? When there is a stamp of the government, when the paper is with you, when you have done the paperwork, when you have all the documents ready, then nobody can have any dispute. Because you can show the document that, see, it is written here. It is written here, it is given to us by your king. We have got this area, this is the, this is the place where we got the victory. We got it in this battle, we signed this treaty, and after this treaty we got it. So this is already legitimized by our own government and your regional king. That's why, see, Britishers, they sign treaty always. We have learnt ancient history so many times, right? So many things and so many battles happened. We did some battles in medieval history also. Did you see any important treaty till now? Like Harshvardhan was defeated by Pulkeshin II. He took the title Parameshwara. But was there any treaty signed? Understand this. This is the analysis which you get after reading books 10 times. Okay? And if you're getting it in the lectures for free, you should always try to understand and grab this opportunity to keep it in your mind. Okay? Because it is saving a lot of your time. Understand a small thing. Why there was no treaty signed in the ancient times, in the medieval times? Why? Like after Mughals, the idea of signing the treaty was taken care, but initially there was nothing like that. In the medieval times, we had some written letters, like letter of Mansoor was there, which used to come from Sultan. But they are just exceptions. Generally, after every small battle, you will see these Britishers, they signed a treaty. Even after a small battle, even if it is a battle of one day, they will sign a treaty. They ensure that they have the proper documents ready for all their properties, for all their lands. Every paperwork was secured by them. So it was easy for them to do these things like giving gifts to the other king, giving it in the dowry. Even after the independence of India, Portuguese could stay there. They had the area of Daman. They had some areas in Goa also. Even after India got independence, look at the irony. Mahatma Gandhi, Nehru ji, they fought with English. They said all the Europeans go out and they set the area free. The partition happened, everything happened, but these Portuguese, they were not leaving. Why? Because they had the papers, they had the documents, they had all the rights and claims, because they knew that after so many years, nobody will remember that what happened in which battle. So that's why they had this clear thing, historical records covered under their documents, a complete right paperwork. And I teach to all my students this, that always ensure this in your life. Whenever you take any decision or invest anything, go for any small thing, even if it is a small, kind of a work or a job related thing, always follow paperwork. Even if you read ethics, okay, you will see that in ethics there is your paper 4 mains ethics paper is there, where you need to do the study of cases, where you will learn that if you are in a very bad situation as an officer, there you need to follow the paperwork, and if your seniors are asking you to do something, ask them to give it in written. If they will give it the letter, if they send it the letter to you, then only you can take the action. And if you say this and follow this, you will be always free and happy doing your job. Nobody will be able to interfere. Why? Because you have the papers to show. Don't follow verbal commitments ever in your life because they are very damaging. Always follow the paperwork. And this happened with Portuguese. They had the papers. See, English came, they got some areas, they got some lands, they got the zamindaris. And whenever the rulers, the nawabs, or the politicians used to ask them to leave India, they used to show the paper. Look at this paper, look at this stamp. This is the stamp of your own ruler. This is the stamp from your own nawab. This is the stamp from Shah Alam too. He is only, saying that we should stay here. He only gave this territory. What can we do? We don't want to stay here, but we are here just because your Nawab, your ruler is asking us to do so. This trick they applied on us. And we Indians, we were so emotional. We thought like, how is it happening? And now see, when you said something, you can deny on it. No, I didn't say. I didn't mean. You can deny it in future, right? There are scopes of changes. But if you have written something and signed there, if your signatures are there on the documents, then you can't deny. Then you need to agree that yes, I said it. Yes, it should be like this. So these people, they did it every time. See, after, Battle of Buxar, they immediately signed the Allahabad Treaty. They immediately, got all the signatures done by Shah Alam too, the Mughal emperor, because Mughals were the rulers of India. If they will sign a letter, then it is like the entire India is in the control of Britishers. So they, penetrated in this small way. Now, Bombay was gifted to Charles II, of course, because of the paperwork which they used to do. Bombay was given over to the East India Company by the government. So when King got it, so King gave this to the company because that royal family had shares in the company. So they always used to favor the company. So King said that, okay, I have this place in my dowry. I stay in England. I don't go there. You guys are trading and you are good merchants. So just keep it with you. Make it your center and give me a some good amount of an annual payment. And then you can trade and do whatever you want in this place. So on an annual payment of £10 in 1668, King gave this part to English East India Company. So can you see? They had to do this clear level of trade. English company is there and English king is there. But the king and company, they will have a kind of a deal. It's not like ki le lo bas aise. No, they will not give it like just right away like this. No, king asked for money. Do you see the importance of it? Was it just because king wanted money? Was king so poor that he just wanted the annual payment of £10? Why? £10 is not a big amount for a king of England, but still he asked for it. Can you tell me why? King Charles II, will there be any difference in his life if he gets £10? There will be no difference, but still he asked it from the company that, okay, East India Company, you are a private company and I am the government, I am the king. So this is my royal order that I will give you the area of Bombay. This is my dowry area, but I am giving it to you. You just need to give me £10. Why? This is documentation. This is known as the paperwork, power of paperwork. That I am not giving it to you for free, or this is not a gift I am giving. No, this is not a gift. You need to pay me something. Okay? So that it will be ensured in future that I can replace you anytime and give this region to any other company if I want. Okay? So king, they used to sign these deals and these things by keeping the future in their mind. Not just by being emotional and giving to this like that. No. Later, Bombay was made the headquarter of East India Company. They shifted the seat of their western presidency from Surat to Bombay because Bombay was a better place for them. And in 1687, they shifted their headquarters. Then there was a good peace between English and Portuguese now, because Portuguese, they stayed in their own small centers. Somehow they maintained their private trade, and English were happy that they got Bombay also, and they were increasing their power, and ultimately they will go into the area of Bengal also. Now, how they captured Bengal? Understand, the capture of Bengal is a big thing. And before going to Bengal, let's cover Madras, because Bombay, Madras, and Bengal, these three areas we need to cover. Okay, so we have understood how they got Bombay. Now let's understand how they got Madras. Okay, the journey of Madras is very, very small. The English company's position was improved by a golden farman in South India, which was issued by them to the by the Sultan of Golconda in 1632. Okay, so Sultan of Golconda said that you give me 500 pagodas, the payment of 500 pagodas annually, and then you will have the free trading rights to trade in the ports of Golconda. So from Golconda you can do whatever you want. So here in south they again got a area from where they can have a port, good access, and from Golconda they started trading freely. No tax was levied on them, nothing, and they were very, very free to do whatever they wanted. So a member of Masulipatam Council, the British merchant Francis Day, came in 1639. He received, a good permission from the ruler of Chandragiri to build a fortified factory at Madras. And this fortified factory at Madras later was named as Fort St. George. This factory in Madras replaced Masulipatam as their headquarters, because before Madras they had Masulipatam. So English East India Company used to keep the idea in Masulipatam. They used to take care of it. Now English settlements in South India were managed from the area of Madras. So Madras was given with the permission which was taken from the ruler of Chandragiri. By giving some rent to the ruler, they got Madras. Here they used to pay rent. Okay, rent. On rent they got Madras. Thereafter English extended their trading activities to the east, and now they started factories at Hariharpur in the Mahanadi Delta and Balasore in Odisha in 1633. So from Hariharpur and Balasore in Odisha they started some factories in the east, but then they wanted to go in Bengal. So what they thought, that they should buy some zamindaris in the villages, because it was a good thing to do. Like from starting, see, you don't need to do a big thing by a big step. You can just start with a very small thing. So to capture Bengal, the strategy they made was that initially we will just buy zamindaris. Okay, because they knew that it was hard for them to get any of the state. So they thought to just got some areas. Now here at Bengal at that time was Shah Suja. Shah Suja was the Subedar of Bengal in 1651. He said that okay, I will allow you to trade in Bengal in return for an annual payment of rupees 3000 in lieu of all duties. Means you will be having duty free trading rights. You can trade the way you want and whatever you want to do. No other tax would be levied on you. You just need to give me 3000 rupees of payment every year. Okay. Then in Bengal also English East India Company started factories. Okay, they were started at Hooghly in 1651. So here in Hooghly they maintained their center. Remember Battle of Hooghly with Dutch? Do you remember that the Battle of Hooghly with Dutch? It will happen here only. So how the journey starts, just understand. So here they got some other areas where the places like Kasim Bazaar, Patna, Rajmahal, in these areas also the factories were started. Nevertheless, they had the privileges of the farmans. They were doing duty free trading rights. The company business was now growing, but sometimes it was obstructed by custom officers, because when you cross the borders from one local area to another local area, one village to another village, one state to another state, then at that point they had to pay the taxes. Now the custom officers used to ask for money. So these people, they were worried. They were like, in every local check post they had to pay. They were asked for the payment. Now these people, these businessmen of East India Company, they wanted to have some changes in the policy. So in pursuance of its change policy, company wanted to have fortified settlements at Hooghly. Okay, they thought that if we will have a fortified settlement, then we will be having the protection from other European companies like French and Dutch or any other power, and it will be a more secured area for us. Okay, so they wanted to keep some force also, and whenever force means the army, the English army, so they wanted to keep the army also. Whenever it was necessary, they could use it. So they never wanted to use the army against any Indian ruler. It was against other European powers. So they planned like this. But the Indian rulers, the local Indian rulers, the Bengal Nawab, and so many other people, they thought that it is not right. How can we allow English, people to have their own forces, to have their own fortifications in our own country? Because regional rulers, they were not fool. They knew that anything can happen. Okay, so initially they were reluctant, they were not allowing it. Somehow English East India Company was managing. After few years in 1698, English, they got a very good success. They got success in getting the permission to buy zamindari of 3 villages. So 3 villages are very important for prelims. Remember, even you can write it down. Please write this point. In 1698, they got the permission to buy zamindari of 3 villages. Which 3 villages? Sutanoti, Gobindpura and Kalighat. Sutanoti, Gobindpura and Kalighat. In Kalighat area, the Kalighat painting styles were also developed, which we will discuss later when we will come to art and culture. Kalighat paintings, they are very, very important. Okay, so now Sutanoti, Gobindpura and Kalighat were there under the control of English East India Company. They got the success in buying the permissions and they got it. Now 3 villages, 3 zamindaris are under their control. So how they got it? By, from their owners on the payment of rupees 1200 only. So in just 1200 rupees, the journey starts. Now when they got the zamindari, now they are the zamindar. If you are a zamindar of an area, if it is your own land, then can you do the fortifications? Yes or no? Without any permission, without asking anyone. You can do it, right? Yes, you can do it because you have the zamindari rights. If you are a zamindar, then you can do the fortifications. Nobody can stop you. So the fortified settlement now here in this area, Sutanoti, Gobindpura and Kalighat, was named as Fort William in the year 1700. Now, after 2 years, they made a fortified area and they made it Fort William, okay, which is the seat of their Eastern Presidency in Calcutta. So now in Calcutta, they had Fort William. In Fort William, they, had Sir Charles Eyre as the first president who used to maintain this area. Now Sir Charles Eyre started the journey. Now from this Fort William, the Battle of Plassey will start. Okay. So when you read Battle of Plassey, you must have heard about it. Okay. In history, it's a very common topic. But what is important that you should know the value of the roots, like from where the Battle of Plassey is coming, from where it started, from where it is happening. Those roots are important for you. So understand that how it started. I'll just repeat the point again so that you get it and grasp it in a better way. In 1698, they got success by getting the zamindari rights of Sutanoti, Gobindpura and Kalighat. There they made a settlement, they fortified this area and named it Fort William in 1700. And Sir Charles Eyre was the president of this area. From here, the first battle, the Battle of Plassey, will start. Any doubts? Is it clear till now? यहाँ तक कुछ problem तो नहीं है? I hope the story is interesting for you. You're loving it? Because see, this is a good story where you see the roots of English. And can you see how intelligent and clever they are? They are moving so nicely and slowly. Nobody could imagine that they are just asking for the permission to buy zamindari to start Fort William. Can you see? Like just from 3 villages, the journey from 3 villages to Fort William, such a long journey. They got it. Within 2 years, They, got this. Now, one more powerful thing which they got is the Faruk Siyar's Farman. Do you remember Faruk Siyar? Sayyid brothers, yaad aa raha hai kuch? Later Mughals we covered in medieval Indian history. So Faruk Siyar was a later Mughal. I told you that he was suffering from some illness. He had to get some surgery done near to his thighs, and he could not get any surgeon in India. No doctor was there. So he got the help from East India Company, and after surgery he recovered very fast, and he was very happy that he gave Magna Carta, a royal firman, to English East India Company, according to which the EIC, they got free trading right, free trading privileges, which will increase the power of East India Company too much in India. Okay, so Faruk Siyar Farman happened in 1715. However, it is a time which is very much important for us, because see, in 1700, see, look at the date. Now you need to, don't remember, okay, don't try to learn it, just look at the date. See, 1698, three villages they got. 1700, they renamed it to Fort William. From 1700, Fort William, and this is 1715, after 15 years. Like, they have Fort William already with them, and after 15 years, they got Farman from Faruk Siyar. Okay, what is the Farman? English mission led by John Sermon to the court of Mughal Emperor Faruk Siyar came, where they secured three famous Farmans, giving company many valuable privileges in Bengal, Gujarat, and Hyderabad. It is that's why known as Magna Carta, because some important points are there. Like in Bengal, company imports and exports were exempted from additional custom duties. All the custom duties, all the taxes were exempted now on the annual payment of only 3000 rupees, as settled earlier, as it was already going on. So it was fixed now. Okay, it was confirmed in a better way. The company was permitted to issue dastaks, means passes, for the transportation of such goods. Okay, so now dastak is a pass. Like, if you are moving from any local check post, you can just show the dastak that I have a pass and I don't need to pay you anything. Now the problem is that these businessmen from English East India Company, they used to sell this dastak. They used to do a lot of corruption. They sometimes sold the dastaks to Indian merchants also. That if you have this dastak, you would be able to pass from any local check post. This kind of corruption they used to do. The company was permitted to rent more lands around Calcutta. So they started from three zamindars, so three zamindari areas from Sutanoti, Govindpura, and Kalighat. Remember these three villages and write it down in the comments to remember it in a better way. Always write the important things in the comments so that you remember. Sutanoti, Govindpura, and Kalighat. These three villages from the journey starts, and now they will have more access to rent more lands. Now they were permitted to rent more lands, and in Hyderabad, the company retained its existing privileges of freedom from duties in trade, and they had the only had to pay the prevailing rent of Madras, which they used to do it as they got the permission from the ruler of Chandranagar. So that was, still continued and confirmed. In Surat, for an annual payment of 10,000 rupees, the East India Company was exempted from the levy of all duties. All the taxes were freed from them. It was the decree that the coins of company minted at Bombay were to have a currency throughout the Mughal Empire. Now, this is a big thing. You can write it down. The royal farman, very important. Now the coins, British coins will be circulated in India. This is a big achievement, guys, isn't it? It's a big achievement that they were allowed to go for their own coins now. This is a big thing which they got. Fine, because before this, the Britishers, they were only having the trading privileges, but now the coins which they used to mint in the Bombay area will be circulated everywhere. It will be treated as a currency throughout the Mughal Empire. So wherever Mughals were ruling, there the currency will be circulated. Clear? Fine. Now, one more important thing is that after this Magna Carta, English East India Company was having a lot of good, you know, level of success, but they will be getting more success after defeating French in the Carnatic Wars. When I say Carnatic War, I am talking about the area in Carnatic, which is this area. I will discuss the Carnatic region and the Carnatic Wars with you, but do you know why it was known as Carnatic? Carnatic means Karnataka nahi hai. It's not Karnataka. Carnatic is a different place. It's a place which is here. So we will talk about Carnatic. We will talk about the war, Carnatic wars. 3 Carnatic wars are there. It is between France and English. Okay, so French and English, they had this war, which is known as Carnatic wars. Before starting this journey, let me give you a small glance of world history, which is required now. When you read modern Indian history, with this, you should read the world history also. It is important. Okay, very, very important. And keep this thing in mind that if you read modern Indian history, have some good details of world history with you. I'll explain you why. In the world history, do you remember when we started, we used to talk about 2 big mafias of the world, 2 big superpowers who wanted to control the world. They divided the non-Christian world according to the Treaty of Tordesillas. Can you tell me the names of these 2 countries who had a high level of clash? Around 1400, there was a problem between Spain and Portugal. Remember that? Okay. 1400 is the time. Then they will sign the Treaty of Tordesillas, and then Vasco da Gama will come to India. Later, they will be united, and then they will not be a big power in the world anymore. Okay. Then, in 1600, you will see the fight will be there between France and Britain. Now, this fight will go on for a very, very long time. France and Britain, they became enemy. Wherever they used to go, they used to fight. In America also they were fighting. In American Revolution, America wanted independence from Britain. I hope you remember that I told you that Britishers, before coming to India, they also went to other countries. They made America their colony. In North America, they had 13 states as their colony. So those states wanted independence. They started the slogan of no taxation without representation. So in this way, there is a event of Boston Tea Party also. So with many events and with many struggles, America got independence, and it is said to give independence to America, who helped America against Britain. Britain had America in its control. Okay, so in American Revolution, in American independence, who will help? Tell me. The enemy of Britain. France will help America. So France helped America against Britain in the American independence, which is also known as American Revolution. Then, due to this help, a lot of money will be wasted by France. Right? They will give money, right? They will give money to the France. So now the problem is that a lot of money was given, a lot of time was invested. Every time, not just in America, in Austria also, there was Austrian War of Succession going on, in which French had their own candidate, Britishers had their own candidate. Both were saying that my candidate will become the king. Okay, Austrian War of Succession means what? Who will become the king of Austria? This fight was going on. So France said that my man, my candidate should win. and Britain said, no, my man should win. So they started fighting again. Now, in this fighting, who will suffer? In the end, who will lose? Tell me. Who will lose in the end? France. Why? Because France wasted a lot of money. कई बार होता है ना, हम शो ऑफ में बहुत पैसा खर्चा कर देते हैं. We waste a lot of our money in just show off. We waste a lot of our time in just show off. So here France was just showing off. Wasted a lot of time, energy and money just to demoralize Britain. Britain को नीचा दिखाने के लिए. Okay, to insult Britain in any way, wherever it was possible. France wanted to, invest money, energy, time, everything. कुछ भी कर सकते थे ये लोग ब्रिटेन को नीचा दिखाने के लिए. Why? Now the question is why? Why they used to hate Britain so much? Because Britain acquired so many important territories and the colonial areas of France. Sometimes Britain only used to instigate. ठीक है, यही थे, ये पहले यही सुई चुभाते थे. They used to initiate, they used to start the war. Okay, but then when France used to come, then they used to say that, okay, now you are fighting, why this is not right, you should not fight like this. So every time, everywhere they were fighting. In America, in Africa. When they came to India, in India also they started fighting. There was a competition. Okay, always. So in India, French, they had their dominance in Pondicherry. I hope you remember Pondicherry. And Britain had their dominance in Madras. So in India, when they came, they again started fighting. Pondicherry, Madras. Now you know that Madras is very important position for English, right? Madras के साथ अलग ही level का emotion था. They were very strong. They were emotionally very strong about Madras, English. Now, if French, governor or any person from France, if they will try to capture the area of Madras, what will happen? War will happen, right? So when French tried to seize Madras, the Carnatic Wars started. This is a story of Carnatic War, which I'll tell you that why it happened, why French came to seize the territories in Madras, why French wanted to control Madras, why they started the war, what happened with them, and what happened in the Carnatic Wars also. Because initially you will see in the first Carnatic War, France will win. In second also the France will win. But in third Carnatic War, English will win. So we need to see that entire journey. I'll teach you Carnatic Wars separately tomorrow. Not today. Already the lecture is going too big, right? So we need to cover some more topics also, and I need to teach you about Danes also. For Danes, only one slide is there, not much. So Dutch and Danes we need to cover today, no? So that's why. Let's focus on the part of Danes, French and other companies and their maps. Then Carnatic Wars we will cover tomorrow. Fine, now come back to the topic. So basically I was telling you that there was a time when Spain and Portugal used to fight. Then Britain and France started fighting. Then in First World War, you will see that Britain and France, they will come together to fight against Germany. Okay. Then in after Second World War, you will see that in world there will be no influence of Britain and France. Then USA and USSR will fight, like Russia and America. Then the enmity and war of Russia and America will get developed into the Cold War, and ultimately Russia will be not Russia but the USSR will be disintegrated, and USA will become the superpower, and ultimately America will win. Okay, so this is a journey. Spain, Portugal, number 1. Then number 2, Britain and France. Number 3, America and USSR. America and Russia, you can say. And then fourth stage is a stage where America will be superpower. So this is a journey which you go to see in the world history. Right now, the time of clash which we are seeing is the clash between France and Britain in the entire world. So they are fighting everywhere. So how French came? French East India Company was formed in 1664 by Jean Corbett. He was a minister of Louis XIV. And the first French factory was established at Surat by Francis Caron. Then Francis Martin founded Pondicherry in 1673. You can see Pondicherry is a very important settlement. Look at the map here. I have discussed this with you, so that's why I'm not repeating the point again, because in the first lecture only I gave you the detail. So other French factories were there in Chandranagar, Mahe, Karikal. You can see Mahe, Karikal, Yanam, Chandranagar. All these are factories. Francis Martin was the first governor of Pondicherry. Anglo-French rivalry in the beginning of 18th century was seen, and it was the manifest of Carnatic War in the Carnatic region and in the Bengal region. So we will discuss the Carnatic War later. Okay, this is a big topic, but before coming to it, we need to cover the Danes also. So I told you that Danes came from Denmark, right? So Danes came from Denmark. It also established a trade settlement in India. Danes, they also had their own East India Company. But the problem with Danes was that they were more interested in missionary activities. So what will they do in the end? They will leave India, because they understood that Indians are very sensitive about the religion. They are not getting converted easily. It's not easy to convert Indians, okay? Religiously, you won't be able to influence them. So that's why, not to go in the sensitive region, they thought to leave India and they just went away. Okay, so the settlements Danes had was in Tranquabar. It was founded in 1620. In Sirampur in Bengal. Sirampur was their headquarter in India. They failed to strengthen themselves in India, and they sold all their settlements in India to Britishers in 1845. Okay, you can write these points. This is just a small detailed thing. In book, you'll find a lot of extra content is given. Okay, but that's not required. You don't need to go to, learn everything about them, because they are not important for exam. So just 3 lines you need to write about them. You can write quickly. I'll just dictate you. The Danes, their settlements were founded in Tranquabar 1620, then in Sirampur in Bengal, which was their headquarter in India, and then they failed to strengthen themselves in India. They sold all their settlements in India to British in 1845. Remember the date? 1845. Okay. I have discussed this map with you already when we covered the first lecture, the lecture number 0. Okay. Remember the modern Indian history first lecture, where the basics were covered, where I gave you a good glance of modern India. If not, then watch it in the playlist. It is there. I have updated the playlist, because sometimes I record the videos for you, and see, maximum times I come live, but only few days where emergency is there, I give the recordings. But you'd miss it, because you get to see the recordings in a different section when you go to YouTube, and live lectures have a different section. So better to just follow a playlist, okay, because playlist is updated daily, and you can see the lecture daily. So even if it is a recorded one, it will be there in the playlist. So if you have missed that one, just go and watch lecture number 0 of modern India, which gives you a good glance of starting advent of Europeans. Okay, this map you can see, and then you will be able to understand how many big level of European trading centers we had in India. Now after this, the next topic is the Carnatic Wars, which we will do tomorrow. Okay, we will not discuss this, but I'll just show you the map. This is the area which we will cover. Okay, this is Arcot, very important. This is Northern Sarkars. So this is the area which we will be doing tomorrow. Okay, and right now I just wanted to write few of the topics related to Dutch and Danes about their company. Not Danes much, there is not no much detail about Danes, but from the part of Dutch we need to just discuss few things, because there is a trend in prelims that they have now again started discussing about other European centers and powers. So they may ask you this in prelims. So for that, just write few of the factual details. Otherwise, no other thing is remaining. I have completed the parts of all the European settlements and trading centers in India, and overall we have covered everything about it, so you don't need to worry. And the next part which we will be doing tomorrow is the Carnatic Wars, right? Yes, French headquarter was in Pondicherry, exactly, that's right. Those who are new in the class, please remember that we come live daily at 9 o'clock and you need to like the video. Like and share is important, guys. Please do it for me. Every time when you come in the class, ensure that you do this and ask your other friends also to do the same. Fine. So, yesterday, can you tell me what you were writing, where we left the dictation? I was talking about Portuguese, I feel, right? Was there anything left about Portuguese? Can you tell me the last line you wrote? Because when I was giving the dictation, I forgot that what exactly I told you. Just tell me what was the last line or the last topic which you wrote. Continue it from there only, because I think I didn't give any dictation about the Portuguese governors, right? So we should write about them also. Let's have at least 2 lines about every governor we should write. And I told you about the battles also, right? The battle which Almeida fought. Okay, Treaty of Tordesillas was written. Fine. So those students who are taking dictation regularly can continue watching and can write the next part. Continue from the yesterday's paragraph only. We have covered about Treaty of Tordesillas. If you have not started writing, please make it a practice, because now you are doing modern India, and in modern Indian history you need to read and learn about facts which you'll not get in the books. I ensure that the dictation which I'm giving you is not there in the book. It is information which you'll not find in the books. Even if you find it, it will be a hard learning, like maybe after second or third reading you will realize. So to save your time, it's better to write the important facts. Fine. So now let's come back to the topic. We have written about Treaty of Tordesillas yesterday. From there only I'll continue. Please write the next subheading, Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama, 1498. Just 2 lines we will write about him. Vasco da Gama reached Calicut in 1498. Vasco da Gama reached Calicut in 1498 and then again came back to India in 1501 and again came back to India in 1501. All the dates are important. Pay attention to the dates. Please pay attention to the dates. Again came back to India in 1501, 1501, comma, this time with the purpose of establishing a factory. Jyotishna, Seema and other students, हिंदी लैंग्वेज का चैनल बन गया है. आज उसका पहला लेक्चर भी बन गया है. यू विल बी गेटिंग इट. आप सभी को मैं बताना चाहूँगी कि हमारा हिंदी चैनल शुरू हो चुका है और हमने उस पर काम भी शुरू कर दिया था. आज उसका पहला लेक्चर भी मैंने बना लिया है. अपलोडिंग कर दूँगी मैं बहुत जल्द आपके लिए. और हिंदी का अलग कोर्स हम करेंगे. हिंदी के लिए इस चैनल पे नहीं करेंगे, बिकॉज़ ये चैनल में हमारे इंग्लिश लर्नर्स हैं सारे. एंड इसमें थोड़ा सा क्या होता है, क्लैश हो जाता है. इंग्लिश वालों को हिंदी सुन के प्रॉब्लम होती है और हिंदी वालों को इंग्लिश में, है ना. सो बाइलिंगुअल चैनल है इंग्लिश का, और कल से आपको डेफिनेटली वीडियो मिल जाएगी. दिस इज़ माई प्रॉमिस टू यू. ओके, आई विल बी डूइंग इट. सो डोंट वरी, हिंदी का मिलेगा आपको कंटेंट. ओके, आई एम वर्किंग ऑन इट एंड आई हैव अ ग्रेट रिस्पेक्ट एंड a good level of emotional share with my English learners, because since 7 years I have been teaching in bilingual language only. I have started teaching the English students now only. Like since last 1 year only, I have got in touch with the English students. Before this, I always used to teach the bilingual students. So I have a great level of emotional connect with you guys. एंड डोंट वरी, हम लोग करेंगे उसको, चैनल को शुरू कर रहे हैं, कल से मिल जाएगा आपको लेक्चर। यहाँ पे नहीं कर सकते, ठीक है, यहाँ पे तो यू नीड टू एडजस्ट विद इंग्लिश, इफ यू इवन इफ यू डोंट नो, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड। फाइन, लेट्स कम बैक टू द टॉपिक। सो वास्को डिगामा again came back to India in 1501, this time with the purpose of establishing a factory. In 1503, comma, the Portuguese under Vasco da Gama established their first factory at Calicut. Calicut, Calicut. I'll repeat the point. In 1503, 1503, comma, the Portuguese under Vasco da Gama established their first factory at Calicut, full stop. Second factory at Kannanur in 1505. Second factory at Kannanur, Cannanore. Kannanur is also known as Kannur in Kerala, in 1505, 1505. Full stop. Next is Pedro Alvarez Cabral. I'll write it here for you. Pedro Alvarez Cabral. ये S भी लिख सकते हैं, Z भी लिख सकते हैं इसको. Pedro Alvarez Cabral, 1500, 1500. Please write a line about Cabral. Cabral was second Portuguese after Vasco da Gama to reach India. Cabral was second Portuguese after Vasco da Gama to reach India in September 1500, 1500. In September, 1500, 1500. The Arab merchants had a good control over the trade on the Malabar coast. At that time, what happened? Just understand. Cabral, when he came, so he came after Vasco da Gama and he reached in 1500. But at that time, Arabs were having a good control over the trade on Malabar coast. So there will be a fight. Okay, there will be a series of attacks on the Cabral and the factories which he established. So Cabral also took revenge by seizing the ships of Arab merchants along with sacking their cargo and burning their ships. But then he somehow made the factory. Okay, so he made the factory at Calicut, but the factory was attacked by the natives with the help of Arabs, and the entire destruction happened. So Cabral, befriended with the ruler of Kochi in Kannanur, Calicut, and with all of them together, he established good relations. But he could not sustain in India. Why? Because he had to fight every day. Like it was a battle for him every day, and then he could not continue the war for a very long time. So just write one line about him. He established factory at Calicut, but soon this factory was attacked by the natives with the help of Arabs. I'll repeat the point. He established a factory at Calicut, but soon this factory was attacked by the natives with the help of Arabs, comma, leading to the destruction of the Portuguese life, leading to the destruction of the Portuguese life and property and property. Fine. So this was about Cabral. Now please write the next important point. Very important, make a star. Francisco de Almeida, the first Portuguese governor. Francisco de Almeida, Francisco, Francisco de Almeida, D Almeida, Almeida, Francisco de Almeida, who ruled from 1505 to 1509. Okay, he made Cochin his headquarter. Cochin, Cochin. He made Cochin his headquarter. Okay, next point. Francisco de Almeida initiated the Blue Water Policy to strengthen the Portuguese hold in India. Full stop. Next point. Battles fought under Almeida. So number one, first battle is the Battle of Chaul. Please write Battle of Chaul. 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 This is the spelling Chaul. Battle of Chaul, 1508. 1508. Battle of Chaul. Here, Portuguese were defeated by an alliance of rulers. Portuguese were defeated by an alliance of rulers of Turkey, comma, Egypt, Turkey, comma, Egypt, and Gujarat. Turkey, Egypt, Gujarat. Okay, in this first battle, the son of Francisco de Almeida was also killed. Okay, he lost his son in this battle of Chaul. And next year, he took the revenge in the battle of Diu. So please write number two, second battle, Battle of Diu, 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 1509. Portuguese won against the alliance of rulers of Egypt, comma, Gujarat, and Zemurin of Calicut. Next point. So basically, Portuguese, we have learned that they had a great shipbuilding strategies. So sometimes the name of their ships, it is asked in the exam. So they may ask you this in prelims. It is a factual thing. Please write. There are ship names like Caravel, Carrack, Galleon. So write the point. The Portuguese developed some of the most advanced ships of that time. The Portuguese developed some of the most advanced ships of that time, comma, which included the which included the Caravel, Carval, C-A-R-A-V-E-L. C-A-R-A-V-E-L. Carvel, comma, the Carac, C-R-R-A-C-K, Carac or Carac, C-A-R-R-A-C-K. So the name of ships are Caravel, Carac and Galleon. G-A-L-L-E-O-N. Galleon. Galleon. Underline these three words. Repeat and revise it again and again from your prelims. I have a strong feeling that it can come in the exam. Caravel, Carac and Galleon. Okay. They may ask you that what do you mean by these terms. So you should remember that this is the name of a ship. Fine. Now next please write Alfonso de Albuquerque. Next subheading, second governor Alfonso de Albuquerque, 1509 to 1515. Okay, considered as the real founder of Portuguese power in India because he established their bases. He established their bases in East Africa, comma, Red Sea, Red Sea, Aden, Ormuz, and Malacca. Okay, Malabar also, Malabar, full stop. The Carter system was introduced by Albuquerque in order to establish. The Carter system was introduced by Albuquerque in order to establish monopoly over the Indian Ocean. Through this, the Portuguese established their stronghold over the sea routes in India. I'll repeat the point. Alfonso de Albuquerque is considered as the real founder of Portuguese in India because under him they, established their bases in East Africa, comma Red Sea, at Ormuz, Aden, Malacca, at Malabar also. And the Carter system was introduced by Albuquerque in order to establish monopoly over the Indian Ocean. Through this, Portuguese established their stronghold over the sea routes in India. Okay. So all these things are important. Now, rest of the points I have already covered in the slide, so I don't need to repeat it for you. I told you about the saints which they sent to Akbar courts and all their social and religious activities which they did. Okay, so we have already covered it. I have given those details in the slides, so we don't need to write it again. Okay, I'll not give you the dictation of the points which is already available in the PDF or which I have already explained you during the class. If we missed anything, if any important thing is there, then only the dictation will be there. Okay, that's it. That's done. We don't need to write anything about Nino Di Cunha because he did nothing much, only some kind of things which he established in Hooghly, and after which the Portuguese power declined. So we have covered it in the PDF. Don't need to write it now. Put the new subheading the Dutch and write just one paragraph about Dutch. Then I will end the session here. Please be quick. Yes. Good evening, Sachin. You are very late. So the Dutch, please put the heading the Dutch. Please write. The first Dutch factory was established at Masulipatam The first Dutch factory was established at Masulipattnam in Andhra region in 1605. Dutch issued gold coins. Dutch issued gold coins depicting an image of Lord Venkateshwara in bracket God Vishnu. विष्णु भगवान की इमेज उनके सिक्कों पे होती थी. Dutch issued gold coins depicting an image of Lord Venkateshwara in bracket God Vishnu from Pulicat 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 mean Pulicat mint mint Pulicat mint and established mints at Cochin, Masulipattnam, Nagapattinam, Pondicherry and Pulicat. So they had the coin minting areas, coin mints in Cochin, Masulipattnam, Nagapattinam, Pondicherry, Pulicat, in all these areas. Okay. And then in this way they were just growing, but they had to fight wars with the East India Company, English East India Company. And Dutch were more resourceful. If we talk about the artillery, the warfare techniques, they were better than the Portuguese, right? So Dutch even acquired the area in Ceylon in Sri Lanka from English, and English were trying to get the lands of Sri Lanka constantly, but it was a very high Anglo-Dutch rivalry. Then I told you about the Battle of Hooghly. Battle of Hooghly is also known as Battle of Bedara or Battle of Chinsura, where English defeated the Dutch, and then English forever settled in Bengal, and they removed Dutch from India like never before. Just write this particular point, which is the last point. The English defeated the Dutch in Battle of Bedara slash Chinsura slash Hooghly, because it's all same. I'll write it here for you. Bedara or Chinsura और हुगली, दे आर ऑल सेम. ठीक है, इसको तीन नाम से जाना जाता है दिस बैटल. सो बैटल ऑफ चिंसुरा, बेदारा और हुगली इन 1759 1759 where English defeated Dutch, and this strengthened the position of East India Company in Bengal. Clear? So we have completed about Dutch. I have already completed about Danes because there is nothing much about them. Basically Danes were more interested in you know missionary activities, so of course there is nothing to talk about them. Next we need to discuss is French, like how they came, why the Carnatic Wars happened, why they had to fight with the English. So that is something which we will be doing, and it is going to be very interesting for us. So we'll be doing it tomorrow, Carnatic Wars in detail. Rest, in case you have any doubt, if you have anything to discuss, please let me know. And otherwise, I'll just end the session here. Please let me know, guys, if you have any doubts. I can discuss that with you. So we have completed about all the European companies, all the East India companies. Next is the clash which will be there. So the most important clash is the Carnatic War, which we need to, for which we will be having a separate lesson tomorrow. After Carnatic Wars, we will discuss Anglo rivalries like Anglo-Mysore War, Anglo-Maratha War, Anglo-Afghan War, Anglo-Sikh Wars. These wars are there. Like then they started fighting with the neighbors of India. like Anglo-Nepalese War, Anglo-Bhutan War is there. So we'll be doing all these wars one by one as we are going topic wise. And we also need to follow the base of NCERT. That's why I can't go in detail, and difficulties will be only, up to the level of NCERT, so that you enjoy the classes more. And very soon I'm planning to start the standard book. I have thought to start with the Satish Chandra, because I think Satish Chandra is very much liked by the students and also not available everywhere. So we can start from the summary of Satish Chandra, like one standard book Satish Chandra we will cover, then we can do Spectrum, Modern India, or any other standard book like that. So to join it, you can always look at the courses which will be starting on the new channel. Meanwhile, the NCERT series will be continued here simultaneously. Fine. So thank you so much, guys. Good night. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for watching. I can see there are no doubts, so I will end the session here. See you then. Take care. Bye bye.